Hi guys, it's Toddy here from Tech Advisor, and I have just been to Munich. I've just got back and I brought with me a new phone, which I'll show you in a little bit, but also this, the new Huawei Watch GT2. So we're going to unbox this, take a look at what you get inside and what's different from the first Watch GT. See you in a second. So the GT2, if you don't know, Huawei kind of has already done a few smartwatches in the past. They had the Huawei Watch and the Huawei Watch 2. Without the GT, and they were Wear OS based smartwatches, so they used Android, Google's own wearable platform. Since then, they've moved to a platform called Light OS, which is their own design. It's a much different user experience. It's a little bit simpler, but it kind of focuses more on the fitness aspects that you might want from a kind of sports-centric smartwatch. As you can see from the front here, the design is pretty clean, pretty utilitarian. But they have made a few tweaks and changes between Gen 1 and Gen 2 that give it a little bit more polish from what I saw at the launch event. But yeah, let's unbox and actually see what it looks like in person. So this is the standard or sport model 46mm, which you can see on the box there as well. Version of the GT2. There's actually two sizes as well, so they have a load of different finishes. I think it's 4 finishes for each. There's a 42mm model, a smaller model, which doesn't have quite as bold aesthetics, if you will, not as aggressive aesthetics. This is the black one. There's also, I think, 3 other finishes in various guises, one with leather straps, silver bodywork, all sorts. But this all black one I quite like. I think it's quite nice. There's a nice kind of gold foiled embossed kind of frontage there. Looks very premium. Fold that out, and I think I can just pull the watch out like that. And yeah, so here is the GT2 in black sport. Just take that out. So it's using a 22mm band. This is a just standard flexible silicon band, which is quite nice. Also, you can, it does have quick release, which is great. Always good if you want to quickly hot swap the straps, and if I'm not mistaken, because of the design, you don't actually have to use Huawei's own straps. They do offer a bunch of different finishes and straps. You can buy this in and mix and match, obviously, if you want. But if you would rather use your own straps, you already got another watch with the 22mm band, then you can just swap them out, which is nice. You can also see the optical heart rate sensor on the back here and these charging points. And that's about it. It's pretty thin looking on the side. And another thing I've just noticed is this little hole here. This actually, unlike the first GT, has a loudspeaker built in and a microphone, and over Bluetooth you can actually take and make calls directly on the watch without headphones or anything like that. It's similar to the likes of the new Fossil Gen 5, for example, which have just added that functionality in 2, but they are Wear OS. I'll come more onto the hardware that the watch offers later. So another thing that I did read about beforehand, yeah, so the charging cradle here, which if I might have to chew into this one. Excuse me. So I believe it just, yeah, magnetically snaps there, and also I could feel some resistance there. So it only fits one way around, nice and easy. You can't get it wrong, even in the dark. So if you want to put it on your nightstand or whatever, but it's quite nice. It uses USB-C charging. So if you have a USB-C power adapter, say you have a Huawei phone already that's using USB-C and you've got like a wireless charger for that, you can use the charger from that, plug it straight into here, and you can charge your watch with the same adapter, which is great. Speaking of which, there is, I think it's a standard USB-A to USB-C cable in the box here too. Again, they found these so well. And hopefully, being a wearable, it looks like a decent length, maybe a meter. Not too bad. But yeah, so you've got USB-C, just plug it straight in there, like so, and you're good to go. What else do we have in the box? Can't be much left now. It's quite a lot of packaging for... Hey, anyway. Quick start guide, always appreciated. It's got 2 physical buttons on the side of the watch, no other interaction beyond that. This all feels glued in, so I'm pretty sure that's everything in the box. I'm going to put that all over here, see if it's got any power. And then we can have a look at Light OS, which I mentioned earlier. So I just held the top button on the side, Thankfully, there is a bit of juice in there, so I'm going to go through the setup process, get it all up and running, and then we can look around Light OS and what kind of features and functions this watch has to offer. So I've just run through the setup process really quickly, and I'm installing the relative apps on a non-Huawei device. Certain things like Huawei Health, which is the main app that you need to run the GT2, will actually come installed on if you already have a Huawei phone. I'm using a Samsung for this video, but yeah, usually you don't have to install extra bits. This time I did. I've stopped at this point of the setup process just to show you that you actually have, during the setup, once you've paired it via Bluetooth, very simple, very easy to do, and it tells you what to do via the watch as well, in terms of which apps to go install and all that good stuff. You can customize exactly what notifications hit the watch. So this can echo, despite not being Wear OS, can echo every notification from any app on the phone that you have it paired to, which is nice, and it's just a toggle menu. For now, I'm just going to use the basic messages one, so I just get text messages, notifications, and then I need to allow Health, Huawei Health. Just telling you here, for accurate heart rate measurement, please tighten the watch, which is typical for any watch that uses a heart rate sensor, or any fitness tracker really. They want a decent, I guess, read on your wrist and on your heart rate. It's quite hard using this optical technology to get that kind of stuff. So the tighter you wear the watch to a comfortable point, the better the reading is going to be, the more accurate it's going to be in theory. That's the idea anyway. The app itself also has, it resembles Wear OS if you've ever used the companion Wear OS app on Android. It shows you various watch faces you can throw to the watch just from your phone. It shows you the current battery percentage, and it shows you all of the kind of health stuff, so distance traveled, calories, steps, etc. So it's pretty in-depth out the gate. This does also support Huawei True Sleep, which we've seen in their other products as well, like their band range. So it does a sleep tracking built into, and activity reminders if you're wearing the watch and you're sitting down like for too long in one place. It'll tell you to get up, all that good stuff. You can also customize the heart rate monitoring. Certain watches do it sporadically or when you tell it to. More accurate is to have it constantly checking, and it pings depending on the watch and the product and the setup of the app between every 20 minutes to every hour, and it just gives you a better read. So it depends how accurate and how much detail you want to drill down to into your fitness data. But yeah, in an initial look at the app, it seems like a really nice, well-rounded experience, and it adds a lot of nice functionality to, or highlights a lot of the nice functionality on the Watch GT2. I won't put it on just yet, but I'll just run through some of the software features here. So the default watch face on this black model is like kind of complimentary, and I'm pretty sure whichever model you go for, if you get the one with the leather strap that I mentioned earlier, it comes with a different default watch face. Screen timeout's pretty quick too. Looking at the design, it's got a nice brushed metal casing, which is pretty good. Like I said, this is the 46mm model. There's a 42mm as well with a smaller 20mm band. Again, quick release. Again, there are multiple versions with different finishes. There's like, I think, a mesh strap, which looks rather nice. I think it's the Elegant range. Pricing is a little bit different between the two, but I'll get to that in a bit. One thing I have noticed is Huawei this time has actually had the bezel, which has a kind of a chronograph kind of numbering system around the edge, merge almost directly into the cover glass on this fully circular AMOLED display. The display itself looks really good, viewing angles are really strong, and brightness in this pretty bright room with big windows, it seems pretty clear to see, which is quite nice. It's a 1.39-inch AMOLED panel with, I believe it's a 454 by 454 resolution, same as the first gen Watch GT. If you do go for the smaller 42mm model, you're actually getting a smaller, I believe it's a 1.2-inch display with a 390 by 390 resolution. But relatively speaking, both are really good. Both, I saw the smaller one at the launch, like I said. They both look really good. No complaints there, really. And again, different casings, different strap combinations. The back does feel like plastic, which is actually really good against your skin, as is the silicone band. The leather band looks good, but if you're working out a lot and you're going to use this as a fitness product, you might want to consider what material your strap is made from. Metal and silicone are usually the best. Leather is probably going to be problematic for irritation, and for sweat, the leather will probably perish. So you have those kind of things in your mind. In terms of changing watch faces, I'm not exactly sure how you do that. If you swipe around, by default, there's a bunch of kind of different screens here out the gate, so I can swipe and it's on a constant carousel, just like you would on your home screen on your smartphone. So the watch face is the main screen. Continuous heart rate monitoring is just one swipe away. Then you have your stress. It can actually analyze your stress levels. We have weather and location data. So right now it's cloudy and 18 degrees, which gives us some lovely fat lighting to film by. and also music controls. So I can play music directly on the watch. I don't know whether this song is on the device now. It might be. So listening to a speaker through a microphone and a camera is not the best way to understand how good the speaker is, but for a watch, the quality isn't too bad. It's for a watch. That's a huge caveat. But the fact it has a loudspeaker is, fine. You could use it to listen to a podcast if you're sitting at your desk and you're not going to disturb anyone. It might be useful for those sorts of things. If you do want to enjoy music, I wouldn't listen to it through the watch. But the whole point of the speaker is that you can make and take calls. Say you're driving quickly, you just want to tap your wrist, you can just answer it. You don't need to have Bluetooth headphones, don't need to reach for your phone. So it definitely has its uses. If I tap the top button, you go back to the home screen, and see what other swiping gestures can we do. Swiping down, similarly to Wear OS, gives you a quick overview of all of the quick settings. So you can just have show time, find your phone, so you can jump straight to finding a phone on the watch, which is nice. I've not used Light OS before. I didn't review the first gen GT. I have to say, also your notifications are at the bottom. Whilst it's comparatively limited for third-party apps, the default out-the-box experience actually seems pretty nice. And I presume, maybe if I press and hold? Yeah. If I press and hold, we have a bunch of watch faces pre-installed out the box. It looks like we have a load. Yeah, there's about 10 to 12 watch faces, really different styles, analog and digital. There are widgets on the watch faces, things like your heart rate monitor and your step count. You can glance straight from the default watch face, which is really nice. Some of them have a bit of customization if you want to tweak the color. So Huawei's giving you a lot of control over the experience that the GT2 offers out the box with regards to the user experience, both with that notification management I showed earlier and with the software that we can see here. Another thing that they've added is you could already track your workouts, and there were already a whole host of different workouts that it could track, but they've added more. So now there are new types of run tracking, trail running, or different swim tracking as well. So now you can do, I believe, open water swimming and indoor pool swimming. So they've expanded the fitness capabilities. As for user experience, the hardware, I think to give the phone its power efficiency, the watch its power efficiency, the hardware isn't the most powerful out there. I think Wear OS with its gig of RAM, and the Apple Watch and the Galaxy Watch range all look to offer a more fluid experience in 2019. But it's still perfectly usable out the box. I do wonder how this will fare down the line once you've used it for a bit, and some of that memory gets eaten up. But that kind of remains to be seen. Maybe once we've done a full review, we'll be able to tell you more about just how it works over a longer period of usage. Another thing I should mention is the battery life. So, as with the first GT, Huawei says 14 days on a single charge with the default settings, which is really impressive stuff. I believe if you use GPS, I think it's something like 10 hours use, which is still very, very good. If you use the Bluetooth calling feature, I believe they quoted about 30 hours use if you use it regularly, which most people probably aren't likely to do, but just to give you an indication. But 14 days for a full color screen OLED smartwatch is pretty impressive. My biggest disappointment is that this watch doesn't have any kind of mobile payment features, no NFC, no Android Pay or Google Pay kind of equivalent service. It's tricky outside of Apple Pay and Google Pay for manufacturers to get a payment service up and running with partners. So that's probably why. I know that in China, this watch does launch with NFC and you can use it for payments, but that is definitely relative to the market that you're in. So bear that in mind. Also, that battery life I quoted of 14 days is for the 46mm version. Because the 42mm is obviously a smaller watch, it also comes with a smaller battery, and I think Huawei quotes 7 days. So for your money, there's only 20 euros difference between these two devices. I would say you get a lot more, especially with regards to longevity, from the 46mm if you don't mind wearing a bigger watch on your wrist. Now let's talk price. Both of these actually, I think, undercut Samsung and Apple and kind of hit around the same price point, a little bit cheaper than the latest Gen 5 Fossil watches using the Snapdragon Wear 3100 with a gig of RAM. So the 46mm that I have here, the standard model, is 249 euros, and the smaller 42mm version will retail for 229 euros. Both pretty impressive stuff, I think, for what you're getting here. So long as that user experience stays fluid, I'd say that's a decent buy. The question now is, how is it in real world use? And also, when can you get it? Huawei only mentioned on stage at this watch's launch that it would be coming sometime in October 2019. They didn't say when or where exactly. So we don't know which market it's going to be in just yet, but we're hoping it's coming to the UK soon. We'll know more as and when the watch launches. So that's an initial look and unboxing at the Huawei Watch GT2. If you have any questions, you can drop us a line down below in the comment section or hit us up on our social media channels. I've been Toddy, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.